Hello, everybody. We're here with another fantastic episode of the Apex Coalition Show. I'm joined by, I'm joined by the three playoff hopefuls of what some would say is the most competitive division in Bevo's Badussi Wranglers. Um, Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have you. I'm, of course, joined by Jack, Hunter, and Lippy, um, who are all technically very much in the hunt. We have Lippy at 7-3. We have Hunter at 7-3, um, and only, might I add, 5 points four behind Lippy. And then we have
5.32.
excuse me, 5.32. Then um, we have Jack at 6-4 with a good 30-point lead for points for over his
Rest of the league.
over the over the people in the division. Obviously, Jack doesn't have as competitive a team as the people in Riley Reed's bathtub, but
I feel like
uh,
bullshit on there.
anyway, after he stole a hard-earned victory from K. Cole this week, we're very pro Jack this week. We really need him to beat Jonah. Let's let's go ahead and just poll a quick question. Um, Gentlemen, who's winning this division, and do y'all get the wild card and snag it away from Henry's Hug Heroes?
Dude, there will be two people from the Badissi Wranglers in the playoffs.
I mean, we are top. We are three of the top 5 points for.
Top three in the entire league. We are the
No
top.
way.
We're the top three.
Top three, yes.
Oh my god. Man, one of us is gonna get fucked royally.
So y'all think y'all will continue and take?
I
the
don't think
wild
that's a
card?
question that one
I
of us
mean,
will make the wild card.
there's no stealing it away. It's currently ours.
Well,
No, it is.
the only thing that begs the question is, will Golly or Tebow, whoever
No.
ends up second in that division, get the wild card spot?
They don't currently have it. You're phrasing it as though we are going to go take it. It's currently ours.
Well, my only thought is that it is a lot less established than what y'all are leading on. They are right with y'all in points for. There's not some big disparity there. Obviously, yes, y'all do have the points lead, but is this hubris or is this mind
you're
games?
You're hitting me with the favorite meme from Futurama ever. We are technically correct, the best kind of correct.
But
So the problem here is
this is not on y'all's radar at all, is what you're saying.
Well, so in fairness, both Timo and Golly do get to play a T-less without Cup and Neal, and we all know what A&F thinks of Neal. So that puts both of them at 9 wins.
I think Neal's a great guy.
If Timo and Golly win this week, that'll get them to 10 wins each, which would be tough. No one has ever not made the playoffs with 10 wins. This would be the first time in the history of Apex. And if someone with 10 wins doesn't make the playoffs this year, we should really look at the division automatic qualifier. That would be a damn shame.
Whereas, I think, I'm not incorrect in saying this because y'all have been talking about how prime y'all are, there is going to be a lot more friendly fire in y'all's division weeks than over there. That was why I asked the question, do you think that someone will run away with the second spot in y'all's division, or are y'all going to, crabs in a barrel, and y'all are going to tear each other down, and they'll end up with the wild card? That was the question.
Ultimately, when all three of us win this week, we'll have the top 3 records in the league because Timo and Golly will lose, and this will be just a stupid conversation.
Now, I'm on board with what you just said there. I would very much like for both Timo to lose, no offense, Timo, because I play him this week. And if all 3 of y'all were to win, that does indeed mean that Jonah would lose, which would tie us in record. Now, let's pose this question. And this is one of the least important matchups because I know Neal already has it locked up, but we do have to ask. Neal is currently projected to beat Curn, as is correct because he does have a better team than Curn. But does anyone think Curn could possibly win this game
No.
now that he's lost his stack piece? He has ETN on bye. He has Regiga Chad, whatever he calls him, on bye.
Curn loves to act like he's holier than thou, but he is the worst of us, and
He's
karma's coming for him.
The worst of us. Okay. Well, that
Dude, look at his running backs. They're so funny to look at that. He literally calls one of them no legs.
He doesn't have a tight end that's even going to play this week on his roster, and his flex is Curtis Samuel,
which did not work out last week. We scored him a
the
firm
wide
5
receiver
points.
62. Yes.
That's not good.
So I guess he's hoping that Hurts and Jay Jets and Higgins score 100 points between them.
Now, Neal does have Godwin on bye, but
And he's still projected to win.
He's still projected to win. He could.
Dude, he's got decent options though to throw in there.
He's got Duvernay. That's probably who I would put in there. Duvernay against Carolina. Because he can't put a running back in because he's got so many running backs. He's already got a running back at flex.
And you can't put McKenzie in because they might not pass the ball with that weather that's predicted in Buffalo this weekend.
Yeah, I think Duvernay's the smart play there. And
you can't put Gus Bus in. That sucks.
Yeah, I think he'll go Duvernay and it'll be fine. Especially if he gets a touchdown, it'll be extra juicy.
Hey, is Gus Bus still dead?
Yeah,
is that what I'm hearing?
No, he said Harbaugh said that earlier this week that in like the same sentence that all the questionable guys, Gus Bus, Andrews, are likely to play this week.
Okay,
but Neal's not going to play Gus Bus because he
can't.
He has Cordero, Kamara, and Miles Sanders, so Gus Bus won't be played regardless.
But they are playing Carolina. That is a juicy run defense to face. And after that, Cordero get splitting snaps with 2 other running backs. I wouldn't put it past him to bench him.
I don't know about that. I really don't know about that. I think Cordero is a much safer play than Gus Edwards. This, like I said, we've already spent way too much time on this matchup. Neal is going to crush this. We've got.
Hey, AMF.
Yeah.
Can I take a quick sponsor break now that we're basically done with Neal and the shitty bird?
Yeah.
And tell Hunter about our new sponsor.
Sure, Jack.
Well, Hunter, we have a new sponsor called the Two Keeper Initiative in the Apex Coalition, and basically what it is that to bring 2 keepers back, we're going to have a keeper draft, and that's how we're going to fill our summers from now on instead of useless dynasty leagues. Can I get your initial thoughts just on the name?
What in the fuck is a keeper draft?
That is such a good question, Hunter. See, what a keeper draft is that instead of having 2 keepers, where the thought is, oh, I'm going to tank, which has never happened other than when I decided to go to Millsap. But what happens is that you will select a keeper, and then after everyone is done selecting, there will be one additional keeper that everyone can draft from a pool of teams. So that will be the initiative of the keeper draft. It'll be a free for all.
What do you mean draft players from a set of teams?
We're going to have a lottery machine.
Now look. This is how it's going to go down, okay? And this is in the very early stages of negotiation and compromise, something that the Apex Coalition excels at. But think about it like this. There's a couple of different ways we could go with this, Hunter. But if we were to ever go back to 2 keeper, which I am almost morally opposed to, But Jack has found a way to make it very interesting. If we were to do this, you would say, like, let's take my team for example. All right,
Okay.
I would name Damian Pierce as my keeper. Okay, and I would keep him for $20. All right.
Okay.
Now another good keeper on my team is DeAndre Hopkins for $10. But I already named Damian Pierce my keeper.
Okay.
So all of my other players that could be kept, including DeAndre Hopkins for 10 or whoever else, they would all go to the pool of available players for the keeper draft. And everyone, we can do this a couple of different ways. The first of which being a true lottery system.
No, we would get a lottery machine, and we would have balls with our names on them.
Right.
And it would be based on record. Lower the record, you have the better odds of winning, just like a normal lottery. And that's how we determine the order for the keeper draft. It's a one-round draft to select your second keeper,
Right.
based on all the players that aren't kept.
Okay.
And it's at the price they were drafted the year before, obviously.
And so that's I think the most interesting and random way to keep it entertaining. If that way were to fail, which I don't think it will. And obviously this would this would be for 2024.
Dude, imagine year one, Curn gets the first pick of keepers.
We would say the machine's broken. We would say the machine's broken. we would go get another one, push the date.
We'd have a problem with the stream and actually have to redo the draw. Yes.
No. We would have a lottery draft at a lake house in Alabama. That's where it would occur.
Yeah. And then we would drown Curn if he insisted on having the first overall pick. Don't worry, I'll edit this part out.
Honestly, it's an absolutely electric idea.
It is,
and it'll dissuade people from trying to hoard multiple keepers because they're at risk of losing them.
I truly believe that this is the single best way to stop tanking efforts.
Thinking.
It's a plague upon this league. So
the only person who's ever tanked has been you, and you failed.
Well, Jack, you failed pretty successfully.
Yeah, exactly. You bid Damian Harris for $28. I got him for $3. Okay, so look, if the lottery system were to fail, which I don't think it should, and I don't think it will, but if it were to, then you could just have like $100 budget, and then like a priority system, and say like, hey, if you want to draft DeAndre Hopkins for $10, I'm nominating him as my keeper, and then there could be an auction. But that's a much worse system. That's a much worse.
That's an A&F sponsored, ill thought out idea.
I'm trying to think of a plan B. It's not going to happen because plan A is too good. It's too much fun.
Don't talk to Hunter about plan B. All right, do not talk to him about plan B.
Yeah, you're gonna get me excited.
Okay. Now, here's the deal. A&F, the only thing that we have not thought about, and the only thing that needs to be considered, is what's going to stop people from dropping keeper-eligible players when they're no longer in contention. It's how do you control for that? Because say you have a great keeper or a second great keeper, and you're like, I don't want to risk anyone else in the league getting this prime keeper. I've already got my one, so I'm just going to drop this guy to waivers, right? So that's the only thing we have to kind of flesh out in this system, and maybe it's a look back period of depending on the eligibility of the keepers. If they were dropped to waivers and not picked up, something like that, we could figure it out. But
yeah, there's two ways we could address that. I mean, that's not even a problem, Jack. We could either do option A if they're kept by the trade deadline, like if they're still on a roster by the trade deadline. Option 2, you just draft dollar fine those people for malicious acts and give them punitive damages.
Well, what we could also do is, if you want them to be your keeper that you select, like your first choice keeper, they have to have been drafted and not dropped. But all drafted players enter the keeper pool. All players enter the keeper draft, like regardless of if they were dropped at all.
True.
That would solve it.
See, the thing is that we have a lot of those players every year, and the reason we instituted you got to keep them on your roster and you can't add them back is because of the times where Alvin Kamara gets drafted for $1, potentially dropped and added back, and Nick Chubb gets drafted for $1 and he doesn't start for 4 weeks, and then someone adds him off waivers, and all of a sudden he's starting because Kareem Hunt kicked somebody in the face, and that's the only thing where I think it's a look back period, like ANF said, like they have to be on your roster through the trade deadline. I'll say this: I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem because everyone here is a good manager, and you have to know. Well, you have to know that if you've got like one really good keeper option, right? Nothing is getting in the way of that one really good keeper option. Unfortunately, getting hurt, during OTAs or during preseason, and then all of a sudden you've got to have your second keeper lined up for you to just keep.
And here's another solution to that. We make keeper trading happen before the lottery, meaning that
keeper trading has to die.
Hunter, I know that you hate keeper trading perhaps more than anyone in the world.
Dude, keeper trading is just a fancy word for collusion.
Hunter, let's not say that.
Well, Jack and Hunter, y'all are the reason that's the definition in the dictionary. Like, there's a big picture of Jack and Hunter exchanging a cartoon bag of money next to collusion, with Nick Chubb on the face of the cartoon money bills.
That was possibly the greatest negotiation in Apex history. Was that negotiation back and forth? It was really good stuff.
Yeah, you got a lot out of me for that. But I think we both got a square deal.
I think we got the fairest deal possible, and I proved it to you. At one point, you said, if I was getting a hamburger for $5 off, and I just gave you $5 off a big screen TV, who would care?
See, I think so. That aside, I think my idea of doing keeper trading before would just incentivize tanking. This is supposed to get rid of it. So I see the problem there. This is in its infant footsteps, and it will continue to crawl until it walks, until it sprints. This is a fun idea that I think everyone will get behind once we hash it out and talk about it some more.
You think Golly's going to get behind this?
I don't know.
Golly votes against change no matter what.
Well, but now at the same time, he voted to remove 2 keepers to 1 keepers because it was anti-change. And this will, in effect, be anti-change going back to 2 keepers. So it might actually get a Golly vote because it will be retroactively fucking a change vote. So Golly's a real wild card on this one.
All right, well, now who exactly would the keepers be that would enter this draft? Have you looked at teams and seen like who are the likely keepers at this point?
Well, so first of all, this would be for 2024. This would not be for this upcoming year.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like hypothetically, because I imagine the keeper landscape won't change that much from year to year.
So let's just I've just got my team pulled up as an example, okay? And I'm not saying any of these players should be kept, but like for instance,
fair enough. We can't see your team right now.
Okay, wait a minute. I'll share screen.
Let's go.
So like I've got Kyler Murray, right? And he was drafted for $10, but he's not going to be my keeper. So if you got your lottery ball and you were first up, you could pick Kyler to keep for $10. But so you would be able to look through like all of the normal keepers, except you would be looking at everybody's team. Like, okay, A&F.
Well, Dustin's team has a lot of nice keepers.
Okay, so let's look at Dustin's team.
He's got Olave for $5 or $6. He's got Walker for 15.
So that I think is just another cool idea because you're not looking at your own roster. You're looking at everybody's roster. That is just more involvement over the off season, which is when we're at our most dead. It just sounds super fun. because you're looking at everybody's roster thinking, okay, like this is my first choice. Like if I'm second pick, like I really hope he picks Olave for this much, and I get to pick Hopkins for 10 or something like that. Um, because then it's, I mean, there's also individual strategy that is reliant on what pick you get. It's just super fun. I really like the idea. And I also like the idea that you still have control over your one keeper. Like, I really like that. Okay, I really like Dameon Pierce for $20. I'm locking that in. So you still get that autonomy. It's not all up to chance and fuck magic.
Now, ANF and Jack, I do have a question about this.
Uh,
The one keeper, is it anonymous and then it's revealed at draft time who the one keeper was for
no,
each
no,
team?
no, 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 no. I think that is
Well, and I'm
that's
talking about at the draft, the start of the keeper draft. Is it announced? Because then there's a lot of strategy involved. But if you don't know who everyone else is keeping, like you don't know who Dustin's going to keep.
now this is
Very interesting.
this is my proposal. Okay, I have said this, and I have beat this war drum, and the drums will continue to get louder. Um, that keepers should be designated a week before the draft, so people have time to do strategery on who they
Oh,
are drafting.
but ANF, imagine if you had like I think what Lippy's getting at here, and I kind of see this vision. Imagine if you had like a big board, right? And you're like, all right, I've gone through the league, and here are my top, 24 keepers in the league. I have no idea who anyone's keeping. Really, you'd say 23 because you know who you're keeping. And so, right before the draft, or like to start the draft, you round robin. You say, "Hey, I'm keeping this player," and it's locked in. And then all of a sudden, like maybe a keeper that you're like, "There's no way," ANF, doesn't keep Dameon Pierce. And then let's say you're right before the keeper draft, you say, I'm going to keep DeAndre Hopkins. All of a sudden, Dameon Pierce shoots up everyone's
See,
draft board,
now that
and you're like, whoa.
that I think is interesting, but not a good thing. What this is what I am proposing is because keeper trading has traditionally opened a week before draft day. Correct? Am I correct in saying that? That is indeed true. Um, keeper trading opens a week before, and we can talk about keeper trading later, Hunter. But what I am proposing is that you are to designate, and Curn will announce, like Curn will DM everybody, like this the Friday before he announces on Sunday who are you keeping, and say, if you want to change it, message me before 5 o'clock on Sunday or whatever he wants to do. And at that point, 5 o'clock, the week before the draft, Curran will say, "This is the list of keepers. This is who ANF's keeping. This is who Jack's keeping. This is who I'm keeping. This is who Hunter's keeping. This is who Lippy's keeping," and everyone has information. And then the keeper trading is open. But that doesn't make any sense because if you've already designated it, how the fuck do you do this? This is so complicated. Because you need
ANF,
you need to
you
be
just have to.
so there's a 2 week period, I guess. Fuck. So you have to open up keeper trading earlier. You have to open up keeper trading earlier.
Why not always have it open?
Or ban keeper trading.
It's
I like
like
Hunter's
someone
idea.
have a stroke as they fall down the stairs.
So you
Why
need
are we having keeper trading when there's a keeper draft?
Exactly.
so you just
Why aren't we drafting keepers during the NFL draft? We already have the division draft during the Super Bowl. We could have the keeper lottery draft.
No, because no one
during
wants
the,
to. No
during
one
the real draft.
deciding keepers that early is not good because an injury will fuck you. So look, we just eliminate keeper trading, and then the 1 week period works. You designate your keeper the week before, and you're locked in. And then you have a whole week to see who's on the field for, and then the lottery and the second keeper selection will be built into draft day. So you go into draft day not knowing, um, not knowing what your second keeper is, and the lottery happens an hour or so before an hour or so before the actual draft. Draft day becomes even more hype.
Now, I have an alternative idea here. What if instead of having this huge, week delay for keepers to plan and scheme, what if we have the draft announcement? We've got the balls and the roller. We're ready to decide draft order. No one knows who anyone's keeper is. But when your ball is dropped and Dustin's got the first pick, that's when he announces who his keeper is going to be.
But what if he wants to keep someone on ball number 2's team who hasn't got to designate theirs yet?
That's the downside of having to go first.
That's an upside of going first. That makes first too good.
How's it make first too good?
Because
then first doesn't know who else is going to be kept. First is clueless as to who's going to be kept.
Well, so are you saying like then if he picks someone that's being kept, he just gets fucked?
No. So first you find out that you're first overall.
This pod is
when
going to
find out, you have to announce who is going to be your keeper from your first choice. This isn't from the pool. This is only from your team.
Right.
When your ball is dropped.
So no keepers have been decided yet.
No keepers have been decided, but we have the draft to see, or we have the lottery to see who's going to get what the draft order is going to be. And when your ball is picked, you have to say who your keeper is, and you're locked in. And you have to, if you're first overall, you have to pick your keeper blind, not knowing who else is going to be in the pool. And that makes it a little bit more fair.
But so this is my question, all right? So let's use this example. Dustin's the one ball, right? Okay?
Yes.
And his ball gets called, says, I'm keeping Olave as my keeper. And then he picks the second.
No, he doesn't pick his second. Then it moves on to the next person. Then we go to the next ball drop to see.
So then it drops my ball, and I say, I'm keeping Dameon Pierce.
Then you say you're keeping Dameon Pierce. And then it drops Golly's ball, and Golly says, I'm going to keep Jamar Chase.
Okay. So, and then we finish 1 through 12, and then we go back to Dustin, and then he picks?
And then Dustin picks.
Oh, I'm fine with that, too. And we do this all the day of the draft. I thought you were saying in a fucked up world, like, Dustin gets to pick his keeper and then his lottery ball keeper. I'm like, well, that's crazy busted.
No. So if you are the one that gets, lottery number 1, you have to select your keeper blind, not knowing who else is going to be in the pool.
I don't think that's that much of a disadvantage. I like the idea because it makes the draft day really hype, but I don't think that's that big of a deal because, I'm probably going to keep my keeper based on what I think is the best setup for my team going into a draft.
Yeah.
But I like the idea. I like doing all of that on draft day because that also eliminates the problem. If you do it the week before, there could be an injury during that week. So I personally, I like that idea a lot. I think it's fun and will just add to the pageantry of draft day. I like that a lot. What do y'all think, Lippy and Jack?
I love the idea. Sounds like an absolute blast of a draft day. We need a full lottery machine. We have the balls we throw in. Just be an absolute great time. As long as Curn doesn't win, everyone wins.
It doesn't even have to be some. And obviously we can if we want to do this. But you could probably get a bingo roller for $4. And just write people's names on those little white bingo balls. It's as simple as that. Now, I would insist on someone other than Curn being on camera doing this because I know Curn will rig the system. But I think we should insist on someone else having because we're all going to be on, or most of us will be on Discord anyway. So there will be video evidence to show that it is a fair and random process. Because I do think this opens, if we were to leave this to Curn, there would be no surprise of who would be a top 3 lottery pick every single year. So, I think this idea is really cool. Jack, I think this is a fun really neat way to do keepers. I never thought I would want a second keeper to be back, but if this is how it happens, I'm all for it. I think this is a great idea.
I'm happy to hear that. And my only follow up is what would happen? What would happen to this podcast and this YouTube channel if we titled this episode "The Brain Cell Holocaust"? Because
Well,
that was that was a that was a tough 20 minutes to get through.
but
Is it time to go through the matchups or the past trades from Apex?
let's go through the final trades. Also, what we should do to this podcast is put that dog in charge, Lippy. That dog would have made that a much more clear process. Hello, Fluffer. All right, let's see here. Trades.
The easiest one's the most recent one.
Yeah, well,
Christian Watson.
So we already did this one. We already did this. I think these are the only two trades that weren't covered by our last episode. I traded Mike Gesicki to K-Call for like 10 fab, which doesn't matter. And the last trade of this 22 season was Lippy acquiring Mark Andrews and Mr. Likely and Christian Watson after a 3-touchdown performance for Zach Ertz, who is deceased, Keenan Allen, who is coming back to life, and Mike Evans, who's steady Eddie. Now, Hunter, I've got thoughts on this trade, but I want to know what you think. What did you think about this trade between your two division mates who you were competing fiercely with for a playoff spot?
Yeah, so a trade like this I would have loved to have made a trade like this to ship Kelsey, but to get better wide receivers than that. So I like it for Jack. You know, obviously the Ertz thing is fucked up. So in retrospect, you know, maybe it's not quite as good.
Just look at Ertz as if Dalton Schultz, because he had Dalton Schultz. Ertz was just thrown in for the semantics of it.
Yeah, but no, I do like getting two solid wide receivers, albeit a little bit. You know, Keenan Allen's coming back from injury, but I like
this is a lesson in striking while the iron's hot. I sent Lippy that trade roughly 2 minutes / the first text message 2 minutes after Sleeper goes, Zach Ertz done for the season. So that's how this happened.
Now let me say this. Lippy, I think you really fucked up with this trade. And I've thought about it, and it comes down to this. If Watson is what the Packers drafted him to be, I'll have to eat a lot of crow. But I've just never seen somebody drop as many passes as I've seen this guy drop passes. I feel like every week I see this guy drop a touchdown. Now, that also means he's getting targeted for touchdowns frequently. So I might just be a big dub-dub. I think Jack made out like a bandit in this trade, though.
Especially if Andrews misses week 11.
Yeah. Agreed.
At the end of the day, Jack and I both wanted to do this trade very badly, which means we both think we smashed this trade.
Right.
And I do think I smashed this trade. I would have done it even without Watson if Jack would have insisted.
Really?
If we're being completely honest, I was very happy to get Watson back. But at the end of the day, I could care less. I was offering Evans and plus for Andrews to everyone who had Andrews the entire season. And now I finally got Andrews. I'm a happy camper. So I've got no complaints.
What do you think about Keenan Allen and Evans? Do you
Keenan Allen I want nothing to do with right now. If he comes back and is Keenan Allen again, whatever. Evans for Andrews greater than Evans all day. Not even close.
Yeah, I mean I agree with that. I'd rather
not even remotely close. And honestly, Watson versus Keenan, I'd probably take Watson over Keenan right now.
Now hold
Right,
on.
that's
Now
bold.
that's
That's
Rest
you're
the season
out of
all day. Honestly,
you're out
right
of
now, all
line.
day. Rest
You're
the
out of
season.
line.
Watson over Keenan. Who
That's
scores more points rest of the season? Watson or Keenan?
Keenan.
Keenan.
No chance.
Lippy,
You don't even know if Keenan's playing this week.
Lippy, you got to calm down. All right, this is the Packers' blood running in you hot. All right, that's too much now.
If Watson scores more than Keenan, who wins this trade?
I mean, obviously you do.
Then I won the trade. Thank you. No offense, Jack.
but he's not.
But he's not going to. I think that's crazy.
This is just a good example of how every once in a while there's a nice square fair trade, because everyone here is saying, it's either sided. Lippy's just given a very articulate answer as to why he thinks he won. I think I won just simply because Dalton Schultz had a PCL injury. He was nothing for most of the year. Andrews gave me, I think, like one good game, and then likely gave me a good game. And so for me, I just got Mike Evans and Keenan Allen for the price of like Damian Pierce and 4 Fab.
Having Schultz makes this very good for you. If you didn't have Schultz, this would be an awful trade for you.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have done it, but at the time, it was, had I known Goddard was going to die, I would have done, a very similar offer to Curn to just be like, hey, the guy over here that has hurt Jerry Jeudy and Tyler Lockett on bye, could really use, at least one wide receiver, Keenan Allen, who's going to play next week, and could use some more depth at the position as we push for playoffs. I'm not going to start Mark Andrews and Dalton in the flex. I can't do that. So if I'm sitting over here playing, spin the bingo ball machine on Mark Andrews versus Schultz every week, that's useless versus having potentially Mike Evans and Keenan Allen to use during the latter half of the season here.
For those of us that don't have the Discord cams going, the Lippy has just the most adorable dog and a very funny dog toy, and it's making my evening. Let me ask y'all a question. And obviously, y'all's division bias is going to come into this. I hope we can set that aside. For one, I just want to say, and I know y'all are going to root for y'all's own division, but in the, some would say, likely event that I don't make playoffs, I'm pulling for Timo to win the championship big time. I think he deserves a lot of props for drafting a damn fine team, not getting bamboozled by anybody, and having a fine fucking season.
Timo's team was a lot scarier when Swift was Swift.
Now, here's my thought on that. Because the jam all is real. And it's not going to work for Swift to get 6 touches a game. But do you think that come playoff time he will have worked that out? I mean, that's another 4 weeks that we're talking about. And in those 4 weeks, I think it is very possible for Swift to be back to where he's getting the right work.
Man, Timo doesn't have 4 weeks. He's got to win his division to get to the playoffs.
But see, the thing is, Golly's team is in granted, it beat me this week, but his team isn't in the best health position. Mike Williams could be back this week, which would look good for Golly, but he's got to win this week too. They're both in desperate situations.
No way Mike Williams is back this week.
Well,
Mike Williams is probably back
4 weeks, 2 weeks ago.
I mean, Hunter, let me ask it to you like this. Do you think you lose to Golly this week?
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
And Timo probably beats Hunter.
That's my next question. Do you think Timo loses to me?
He could. Dude, I think Timo could lose to you.
No.
I mean, Hunter, I really like where your head's at, but I'm worried it might be up your ass because Timo.
Who do you have on bye this week?
Jalen Waddle.
That's it.
Yeah, but
Timo's entire team isn't on bye.
I mean,
dude, that's fine.
I don't think.
Taylor looks like he's starting to return to form. I mean,
and he
JT's
plays Philadelphia.
JT's the X factor.
if JT fucks, if Kyler Murray's not hurt and actually plays, if Keenan Allen and Mike Williams don't come back, you've got Palmer. I mean, in Philadelphia, Goddard.
I know. I mean, I like my chances, but I'm saying, and so like let's say I do beat Tebow, you're still probably beating Golly, right? Is that what you think happens?
Yeah, I think I'd definitely be Golly.
So then they go in to the playoffs 7-4. They go into the divisions 7-4 each, right? And no offense, boys, the Cup news really sucks, Monster. I think that might be. I don't want to nail anybody's season to a close, especially when I'm riding what I'm riding. But Monster's got it tough this week. He's playing Lippy this week with Gino on bye. He's got DK Metcalf on bye. He's got Cooper Cup that's out. I mean, it's tough sledding. It's going to be really hard for Monster to make up that ground. And then he's got to play Tebow and Golly. Just like Neal has to play Tebow and Golly. I think it's very possible that one of them wins all three of their division matchups, and one of them is 2-1 out of it, which even after, if they both hypothetically take double losses this week, then one of them is 10-4, and then the other one is 9-5.
9 wins won't get them in the playoffs, so
It might not. It might.
and no chance. 2 of us will be at 10 wins.
I mean, so the thing is like this goes down to like game theory A&F at the end of the day, and division play can go like what you can get is you can get like a 3-0, 2-1, 1-2, 0-3 like blend, like everyone can do that in a matchup, or you can get 1 3-0 guy and 3 1-2 guys, or 3 2-1 guys and 1 0-3 guy. Like that's the way that works.
Yeah.
See, and the thing is, like Jack's saying, Jack's probably winning next week against Dustin. Jack probably wins this week versus Neal. Or who does Jack have this week? He probably wins for
Jack's got Jonah.
Jonah, yeah, he's probably winning. So Jack's at 8 wins. Someone has to win between Hunter and I next week. That puts one of us at 8 wins. Hunter and I probably both win this week. That puts one of us at 9 wins, the other at 8 wins. With Jack at 8 wins, we both face Jack, which puts one of us at 9 wins. We're going to get 10 wins. 2 of us are at 10 wins.
All right, I'll come out and say it. Golly, I'm really sorry. I don't think you're making playoffs, Buster.
I could see Golly losing out.
All right.
I don't think Monster's beating many people without.
I think realistically, Golly goes 2-2 over the next 4 weeks.
Monster bet his whole season on Cup, Henry, and Cook, and Cup isn't alive anymore.
But look, what I'm saying is Hunter, you're saying that Tebow doesn't have 4 weeks. Tebow doesn't have 4 weeks for Swift to get right. I'm saying he does. I'm saying he does have 4 weeks.
Golly's team, it started so good, but just the injuries kind of fucked him.
I mean,
yeah. So that's what A&F's saying is that if Golly's dead, right, then nobody is in a position to catch him other than Monstar. Which, if he loses this week, what A&F is saying is that that's a bridge too far to make up the distance. So really, it's just this is a polite way of A&F saying, hey, Timo, if you can somehow go 500 over the next 2 weeks, I think you're probably like a 90% lock to make playoffs with that record, because I don't think Golly is going to do the same.
What I'm also saying is a step further. I think Timo's my pick to fucking win it. I love his fucking team. I really do.
That is a kiss of death if it's ever been said before.
Timo, man, if you miss playoffs, it's all my fault. You can just mail me a bomb and I'll open it. I'm sorry, man. I'm telling you, and I've been in Timo's corner since the season started. I like his team.
Oh
I don't.
man, this is
I
the People's Champ 2.0. God damn.
I can't. All right. If I cause this curse, may God strike me down with lightning. I don't know. I think this team is trouble in the playoffs. Not to mention, dare I remind everyone that he has Diggs. Um, dare I say that Lamar Jackson plays Atlanta Week 16. Um,
Be really good at
Stephon Diggs plays Chicago Week 16.
Josh Allen week 16. Are you kidding me?
Nick Chubb plays New Orleans Week 16. I mean,
Damn.
his team's gonna pop if he's in the championship Week 16. He is dangerous.
Is week
Dangerous.
is week 16 our championship?
It is. It is.
Yeah, because for some reason we decided not to go to week 17, even though there's
because
18 weeks.
because
That's the
because
dumbest thing ever.
I mean,
What
I
the fuck?
I wanted Week 17 to happen, but it was too close to the season to figure out how we would implement that other week. We had the discussion of rivalry week, excuse me, but those discussions did not materialize fast enough before the season started. I think it would be a great idea to implement for next season, but we've got to get on the ball fast. We can do that, Super Bowl time or March or April, but we need to get that taken care of before the season starts. I mean, we were having that discussion in August of how to make that happen. We need to be on the ball faster about that. I don't blame Curn at all for shutting it down because we couldn't come up with the plan. So
It wasn't really Curn shutting it down. I was like, to be fair, if more of anything, it was just, hey, we're not going to do anything because there's not like one consensus idea. Because at one point we were throwing around, 4 divisions again and some other nonsense, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, like we're just going to go on.
we're
I
gonna
do agree
kick
that
the can down the road. Yeah.
yeah, we do need to figure that out. And I'm also going to use this, boys. My headphones are dead. I'm going to sign off. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hunter, I hope that your entire team gets hit by a milk truck tomorrow morning. Other than that,
That's the only way I'm losing, baby. That's the only
you
way I'm
gentlemen
going.
have you gentlemen have a fine evening.
You too, Jack.
Sleep tight,
Thanks
Jack.
for joining us, sir.
Adios,
Hey,
boys.
since we do have Hunter here,
Yeah.
if you could click ahead to week 12, we probably have the biggest matchup of the season, which will probably just happen again in the semifinals because it's going to be Hunter and I against each other in the
Well,
semifinals.
see, we're at week 12. This is actually the biggest matchup of week 12, and it is.
Andy Dalton.
Well, come on now. I have no one on bye this week. It neither does Curn. It is. This is the premier matchup. This is what would sell out tickets. The trees outside the stadium would sell out because people would buy tickets in the trees with binoculars to see this game.
What are our Thanksgiving matchups for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, so this week 12 is Thanksgiving week.
Wow. I think we have the Lions, of course, with the 11:30 game. So
yeah.
Hunter's going to get a good jam all piece on that Thursday morning.
So let's see here. Let's look at y'all's matchup. Hunter, do you have anyone that plays Thanksgiving Day? You do. You've got Jacoby Myers.
I've got
Wow,
Dak
very
Prescott,
nice.
Cowboys.
You've got Dak.
Oh, wow. We have someone in every game, Hunter. That's just lovely. Fuck
Yeah.
yes. Wow. Be a bottle of wine deep at about 12:30. That's going to be great.
I'm telling you, this week 12, there are a lot of great matchups this week. If Dustin was in a better form of contention, no offense, Dustin just didn't quite work out this season. This would be incredible. And
I'm telling you, dude, a loss to Dustin is going to be what decides our division.
yeah. No, I think there's a good
decides
chance you're
the
right. Whichever one of you three drops the ball could very well doom that team.
Well, but like I said, Hunter, one of us is probably at 9 wins after our matchup next week. That might be enough just to do playoffs alone right there.
Not to mention, this is also kind of what we were talking about just now. I mean, this week 12 is crucial. It's a must win for Golly and Tebow, because if one of them wins and the other one loses, the other one pulls away. That week 12 is going to be massive for them, especially if one of them wins and one of them loses this week. Week 12 could realistically seal the deal.
Who does Curn get week 12? Oh, wow. If A&F beats Curn and Jonah wins, that could just turn over that division.
That's what I'm saying. This
Curn could be at 6-6.
exactly. Week 12 is massively important.
Wow.
Because,
I honestly don't even care if I win. I just want Curn to not win that division.
I know.
I've been saying the same thing.
I know.
I don't care if I win or not. I just don't want Curn to go to the
I just want Curn to have started 5-0, and now he's going to lose the division. He's 6-4, gentlemen.
If Curn goes from 5-0 to under 500,
he was talking so much shit when he was 5-0.
Yeah, he's gone 1-4 since. I want to win the division, and I'm going to do everything in my power to do so. But I want Jonah. If I cannot, I want Jonah to win. One, I know that he is not a cheater, unlike Curn. I believe Jonah is a man of integrity. Two, Curn is not a good spirit winner. I think Jonah was a rather humble champion, if I do say so myself.
Has Curn ever won?
Not with any current rule set. I'll say this: Jonah won like someone who's been there before. All right, he was a true winner who showed maturity. Curn is an 8-year-old. Okay, he doesn't know how to act. You can't take him anywhere. Certainly nowhere nice. I am pulling for Jonah to win the division. If I cannot do so, then by God, I hope Jonah does it. I can think of no one better other than myself, of course, to represent and reflect our division. If Curn does it, it'll just be a complete embarrassment because I know he'll lose in the first round. I mean, without a doubt.
It would be Curn versus Timo, probably.
I mean, and that's a slaughter. That's a slaughter. Timo might win that matchup by 85. I mean, at least there's some X factor with my team and Jonah's team. Specifically, my team. No, week 12 is huge. And
what's week 13 look like, sir?
Week 13 is less fun.
Bevo versus Hunter. Wow, Hunter's got a gauntlet of week 12 and 13.
Yeah, those are.
Do I have buys in week 13?
I have a dickload of buys in week 13.
Week 13, Carolina is on bye.
Carolina's on bye. Carolina's on bye. So is Arizona.
I'll also not have Marquise Brown if Marquise Brown comes.
But you still got. I mean, you don't need Marquise Brown. The Donta Foreman's kind of a big piece of your team right now.
Well, if Marquise Brown was playing, I could just roll with Eckler, McCaffrey, and then put Marquise Brown in my flex and have Kadarius Toney, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Jacoby Myers.
I may lose to Dustin week 13 without James Conner.
I don't believe that Dustin has any buys on week 13.
He does not.
Not even on his bench. He has full flexibility on week 13. Wow.
He might destroy me.
He's got Trevor Lawrence against Detroit.
But I have AJ Brown revenge game against Tennessee.
He's gonna fuck.
I mean, he might go for 300 damn yards in that game.
He really is. He's gonna just beat the shit out of them. He's been so salty about the Tennessee situation.
Yeah. I mean, that you might outscore my team with AJ Brown that week. Because it's tough sledding for me against Jonah. I've got DJ Moore on bye. I've got Kyler on bye. I've got Hopkins on bye.
Oh, you're fucked.
Yeah. So the real problem here is Jonah just ignored the fact that his entire team's on bye week 14 when he plays Curn.
Yeah, that's a problem. But the other problem is I've got problems week 14 also. I've got JT on bye. The one upside there is that I play K. Cole that week, and he's got quite a few players on bye.
K. Cole is cursed. He's never winning a game. He should have beat Hunter 3 weeks ago, and he didn't. When K. Cole put up 120 or something like that.
Was it week 8?
I think
it was week 8.
Was it last
week 8? K. Cole put up 128 points and lost to Hunter.
Yeah, he put up 128 points, lost to Hunter.
And then 2 weeks later, he puts up 125 and loses by.
If you will address your attention to the screen of my victory over K. Cole, I mean, this just feels wrong. I beat him by a yard and a half, not even a whole 2 yards.
God damn.
0.16. And then he loses to Jack. I mean, talk about unlucky, man. He lost to Jack by what 0.56? Is that right? No.
Fuck.
No.
Yeah, we just needed one more catch to beat Jack.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might have ended Jack's season too, which
0.64 is what he lost to Jack by.
I think that would have ruined Jack. That
it would have he would have been 2 games back of you and I going. Yeah.
He would have been fucked.
And all he needed 0.64 more points. So he needed a catch for 2 yards is what he needed.
I think he had whoever his last receiver was playing was
Terry.
targeted. Yeah, he was targeted, but the pass was intercepted.
At the same time, you can't be upset with Terry dropping 16.8. You know, that's a great performance out of him. His team showed up. It just turned out not to be enough against the 3-touchdown Christian Watson game. Man, Kinkle, that really sucks.
Dude, the Christian Watson was the last waiver ad of the week too.
Yeah.
He was the last player added from waivers.
This was also, I said it in chat, this is my second win this year, being the 11th point scored.
God damn.
So we are alive by the edge of our fingernails here. Let's look at week 13 again, just to summarize. That's going to... week 14, I should say, excuse me. That's going to be a tough win for Jonah. It's going to be a really tough win for Jonah. And I'm not sure, because I don't know what the landscape will be like. I don't even know who I'm going to want to win that game. If Curn collapses here and continues his skid, then I'm going to want Jonah to lose that game, because Jonah's ahead of me also.
Curn was talking a lot of shit about Hunter's team earlier in the season.
That's true.
And Kern's team just looks like a worse version of Hunter's right now.
Well,
I guess you could say that Hurts is better than Dak. Besides that, though, CMC and Eckler way greater than anyone else on Kern's team.
I mean,
not even close.
I think there's a real argument for Jacoby Myers being more valuable than Justin Jefferson. I don't think that's outside. I don't think that's
the wide receivers on my team. I think I spent a grand total of $1 draft dollar on.
You did great.
Maybe $1 of the guys I'm starting. I didn't draft Peoples-Jones. Didn't draft Tony. Only drafted Meyer.
Well, Hunter, I will say, please keep starting.
For $1,
I would love you to keep starting Tony.
I'm gonna. Juju Smith-Schuster is probably gonna be out with the concussion. McCole Hardman is still out. I mean, what the fuck? Why not?
We love it. We love you starting Tony every week. I mean, it does kind of suck me having Mahomes next week and you having all the Chiefs ball catchers.
Now, there's a school of thought out there that having the quarterback is actually a good thing.
I've heard that same thought.
Yeah. Well, that week 14 is going to be made super interesting just by where everyone's at. It will be a very important week. I mean, for no reason other than it's Lippy versus Jack, and the final matchup between Gali and Tebow.
Yeah. And Gali's team should be back to health by then.
Yeah. But it looks like, I mean, just by the projections and looking at the matchups real quick, it is a bye palooza for our division. Even Curran's team has some of his best players in Brian Robinson and Darnell Mooney on bye. So, and then you've got an army of buys over here with the matchup with me and K-Cole. But I'll have Kyler back and Hopkins. But JT will be on bye. I think there's a good chance week 14 I have to start Damian Harris. I have no idea who else I'll start at running back. I really don't. And I think I'm going to ride with the guy who got me here, which is probably not a good thing. But week 14 with JT on bye, I don't have any other running back plugins. It's JT and Pierce, and that's it. So, um, but there's
I can
also
cut Naheem Hines to waivers for you.
well, the problem with that is if anyone has a single fab left, they'll outbid me because I am at a firm 0 fab.
How do you have 0 fab?
For the,
God damn.
You're the only one in the entire league with no fab left.
let me see. I do have 0, right?
You do.
Yeah, yeah. And that's after I had 0 and traded Mike G to Kinkle for another 10. But I dropped Blackshear, the running back in Carolina. He's a nothing burger. That's Hubbard and Donta for sure.
I think you just mean Donta.
Yeah, I mean that's realistically correct. Um,
You could get McKissick.
I don't want any of that. I really don't. I
Rex Burkhead. He's chilling.
no. We signed Eno Benjamin today. Yeah. So that's a non-starter. Let's focus real quick back on week 11.
Let's go through our predictions, maybe.
Yeah. So let's just start from the top on my screen. It's me and Timo. I've already talked with Timo, and I've told him that I'm pulling for him big time if I lose here. So I don't mind too terribly if I do lose, and then I'll just get to watch playoff football. But I do think that the miracle does not stop this week. The show will go on, and I think I'll pull ahead and beat Timo. Do y'all think I've got a fighting chance, or let me ask this instead: are you picking me to win, or are you picking Timo?
I'm picking you.
You're picking me. I love the confidence. You are a certified board member now. Lippy, what are you saying?
So, for the sheer fact that, in my mind, Timo's about to be 11-3 at the end of the season, and he's going to be the 1 seed because I'm going to lose to Jack week 14 on purpose, so I can face Curn in the semifinals. Because I would like to beat Curn. Timo's winning.
Well, you kind of cut out there. I'll edit that part out. Lippy, what do you think? Speaking of Curn losing, one of my favorite things, and it's starting to happen so frequently, it's losing its special charm. We've got Neal and Curn, and this is, of course, with ETN on bye, and just an absolute clusterfuck of a roster to plug in. Who is he playing at running back? I guess he'll put in Brian Robinson at RB2.
And Michael Carter.
Yeah.
And he'll play Curtis Samuel at flex.
And then he's got to pick up a tight end off waivers. It's disgusting.
I'm picking Neal. I'm picking Neal to win this game.
I think everyone's picking Neal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Neal as well.
He's going to get Evan Ingram off waivers to play, who has scored a total of 4 points in the last 2 games.
Yeah. No, I like Neal in that game. We've got Jack and Jonah. Now, I'm obviously self-interested in this one, but I am also picking Jack. I think this game goes pretty poorly for Jonah.
Does Jonah have any other options besides Cooks? That's ugly.
Well, he's already starting MVS.
Oh man.
Yeah, Jonah's got
who's Jonah's flex?
Well, he's got Tyreek on bye is the problem. He's flexing
James Robinson. Oh Jesus. Well, but I don't think Keenan's playing this week.
Is Zeke gonna play this week?
I don't think so either.
Does he have Pollard?
No,
he doesn't.
No, K. Cole is Pollard. K. Cole doesn't have he has the best 0-10 team I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I've never seen an 0-10 team.
I mean, if K. Cole can't beat Dustin this week, where Dustin's projected for 38.
Man's been so unlucky. All right, so is anyone? I'm picking Jack. Do you have Jack or Jonah?
I got Jack. Well, fuck, I don't know. Let me look at his bench.
I
Who's he
mean-
gonna put in instead of Keenan and Zeke?
Nobody. Tyler Algier, Kenny Gainwell. I mean, that doesn't look good.
Well, he doesn't even have a wide receiver to put in for Keenan Allen. He'll have to go to waivers.
Oh, Keenan is set to practice this week. He could play.
I think Keenan plays this week. Now the question is, can you start him? I think Jack
Has no choice.
Jack has to.
Yeah, Jack has no choice.
You have to take the shot. And Zeke plays this week. I'm pretty sure about that. I think Zeke will play. I'm picking
Jack's
Jack.
team is low key really short at running back.
Yeah, it really is.
That's kind of scary.
I mean,
Fournette's looking iffy.
He traded me Pierce so he could have Mark Andrews. If you undo that, his RB depth is the best in the league.
Fournette's looking ugly. Zeke's done absolutely nothing.
I mean,
is it though? Is it better than mine?
Well, just in terms of depth, if one goes down, not necessarily in terms of production.
I don't know, man. I've got decent depth over here with Eckler, Foreman, McCaffrey. I had Herbert, rest in peace.
Yeah, Herbert's on IR though. That's if Herbert had gone to IR, you would have been it.
There was a moment there where it looked like Montgomery was getting traded, and you were about to be absolutely golden on her.
Yeah, it was scary.
I was pretty. Didn't happen.
But look, I'm not just trying to jump on Jonah because he's on he's in my division. But starting Brandon Cooks and MVS, and to be completely honest, Ayuk, I don't know when the last time Jimmy G threw a passing touchdown was. Not to mention he's playing James Robinson against New England.
Yeah, you can kind of argue for everything, but then you get down to the Everett James Robinson combo.
Well, I don't hate Everett. I think Everett is just as likely a tight end dart throw as anybody. That's honestly a play I like better than most that he's got.
Everett hasn't scored more than 9 points since week 4.
Well, I think that's about when I traded him away. So that really worked out. I think I traded him to Jonah. Anyway, that's not important. I'm picking Jack.
I mean, with Jonah, you also got to think: does Fields put up another 40 burger?
He is.
He is with the rate Fields is scoring. He might honestly be the QB1 again this week. He's got such a nice matchup again.
Well,
Jonah needs a 40 burger out of Fields.
But now we said that about Carolina, and I know there was rain, but that matchup was terrible. I don't think it's a sure thing. I think Fields has a great week, but I don't think it's a lock. I think that if there's ever a team that will turn back into a pumpkin, it's the Bears. So
always is.
So I obviously it is necessary for Jack to win this matchup for me, but I also think he's just going to win it. All right, K. Cole.
I don't know. This is going to be a close one, man. I'm not sold. If Allen and Zeke are out, it's close.
I mean, if Allen's practicing, I feel like if he gets full practices in, that's a good sign.
Zeke was about to play last week, but they held him out for an additional.
Like I said when he traded for Zeke, it's nice to see Zeke in that lineup. You're not scared seeing Zeke there.
Well,
Hunter, if you saw Zeke in the lineup, would you be shaking in fear? Would you rather have Foreman or Zeke rest of the season?
Foreman or Zeke?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather have Foreman just because
in a heartbeat.
He hasn't dealt with any issues.
In a heartbeat. And he also doesn't have Tony Pollard and the rest of the team taking everything.
Well, this next matchup is currently projected to be 91-38. This is my lock of the week. All right. K. Cole is getting his first victory, and it will be well deserved.
I'm gonna pick Dustin, I think.
No, you don't do that. That's not nice.
I mean, he's cursed.
Man, if this game goes sideways, I'll be so sad for you, K. Cole. let's do Lippy and Monster. This could also very well be lock of the week.
Monster. Let's see.
Because he's got
Without Cup, yeah.
Gino and DK on bye, and he's got Cooper Cup on IR.
And Waller on IR.
And yeah, I mean, this is unfortunate. You really hate to see this because
he's going to have the Pickens thrown in there, and he's going to have to get a waiver wire wide receiver to throw in as well. And a waiver wire QB.
Yeah, Monster, I feel for you. That's someone else who I would have loved to just go on and wreck shop in the playoffs, but this will be really tough to come back from. Just like if I lose this week, it'll have the same effect. It'll pretty much be a death knell. Then we have our last matchup of Hunter and Golly. Golly, I'd love to say that you find a way to pull this one out, but I think Hunter's
He gets
pretty
Burrow back, right?
Yeah.
Burrow should be in that lineup instead.
Against Pittsburgh, who has been playing good ball. Hunter's team is real spry when he's got all of those running backs. Because, I mean, this is just trouble. I don't know what could they do against
all I can
reckless
say
hate?
is there's one kryptonite to Travis Kelce, and it's the Los Angeles Chargers. Look back. This season, his worst performance, Chargers. Go back to last season. Chargers put up 13.9. Oh, 36.1.
Well,
I'd take it all back. Just forget everything I was saying.
Okay. Yeah, I think Kelsey's going to go fucking bananas on prime time, especially if Juju's out. So.
And if Juju's out, if McCall Hardman's out, it's got to be either Kelsey or Tony.
Which just so happened to both be on Hunter's team. So,
thank God I have Mahomes. I'd be so the competitive person in me wants to pick Gala here just because it'd be nice to have a little easier road in the division. But I really want an 8-3 versus 8-3 Thanksgiving Day matchup versus Hunter. So let's go Hunter.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, the next time we do one of these pods, we'll be staring Week 12 down. Any final thoughts before we close out the pod today?
Maybe a little Black Friday pod next week.
Perhaps that could after some Turkey Day reflections. But gentlemen, I wish you both good luck. I hope that when we speak next on this podcast, I will have. No offense, Timo, but beaten Timo, kept the dream alive. I hope Neal socks it to Curn. I hope Jack takes Jonah out. And then our division will be completely alive. I hope the Doggos, I make them proud.
On the flip side, if Jack falls this week,
yeah,
I don't think he can climb out of that.
No, he cannot.
Well, that is contingent on y'all winning. If y'all's division collapses this week, it stays wide open.
Our division is just too prime.
I mean, it's like Dell always said, stranger things have happened. All right. So you can never forget that.
Now, is that story? Are we saying that story is 100% true?
It's 100% true. It's 100% not coming out on this pod because then I'll actually have to edit it out, and I don't want to do all that. So, I'm about to lose myself with infinite giggles. But that's going to do us for the show. Hunter, let me get a one-liner from you that is if you could give a message to anyone this week, what would it be?
I'd give a message to Curn.
All right. What would that message be?
I'll say that skull fuck that he said he had in store for me, he can go ahead and return that shit to Cinder.
I think it was an eye socket raping, is what he said. Yeah. He was going to rape your eye socket.
Well, yeah. Lippy, do you have any messages for anybody this fine week?
I do.
Yeah.
It would be to Monstar. I'm sorry what I have to do to you this week, sir.
Oh.
Poor fucking Monstar.
That is, Yeah. That just is super unfortunate. And
I
my
mean,
mess.
he was 5-4. It looked like he'd assembled a super team,
I
and
mean,
then just go.
hell, I did everything I could.
He had Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Ken Walker, and then still had DK and Godwin, and just he had to try and assemble a super team with Henry, Cook, and Cup, which is fair.
I mean, yeah, that if you have Henry and Cup, I feel like your team's in a good spot.
Um, damn. Current team also sucks.
My
It would be
message to Curn would be to listen for the drums, because they are going to get louder and louder. So you just watch out, Curn. All right, that's going to do us for the show.